one up, and that's distributive. It goes A times the quantity B plus C equals A times B plus A times C, or A times the quantity B minus C equals A times B minus A.
Hello and welcome to the Kearney Math Show. Thank you all for tuning in today. On today's episode of the Kearney Math Show, we are going to be featuring mini lesson 2, the distributive property. But before we get started, if you will take just a moment to write entry number 2 at the top of your mini lesson. Okay, so our learning goal is that by the end of today, I want you to be able to explain to someone else how to use the distributive property and specifically how to use it with both positive and negative numbers, okay? So before we get started, let's talk about just the words distributive property. What word do you hear there when you hear distributive? That's right, distribute, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be distributing some numbers. Okay, so the formal definition or how to use the distributive property is that if you're wanting to multiply a sum or difference, then what you're going to do is you're going to multiply each number within the parentheses by the number outside of the parentheses. Okay, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But I want to tell you kind of why we do this. So if we were not going to use the distributive property, I want you to consider the following example. 2 times the quantity of x plus 4. Okay? So if we were to talk about what that means, we know that 2 is on the outside. That means we're multiplying times. But we're not just multiplying times a number. We're multiplying times a sum, a quantity of x plus 4. If we were to break that down, that actually means 2 groups of x plus 4. Okay? So if we were to write that out to show exactly that in expanded form, we'd have 1 group of x plus 4, but we said it's 2 groups of x plus 4, so then we're going to add another group of x plus 4. Okay? If we wanted to simplify that, we could see that we could combine the x with the other x, so we have 2x. And we could combine the positive 4 with the other positive 4, so then that would be positive 8. So we could simplify that and say that's 2x plus 8, which is great because it's helping you to see what's happening when you're multiplying 2 times the quantity of x plus 4. But I want you to consider something. I want you to consider, what if I gave you this problem, 10 times x plus 50, okay? And I asked you to write that in an expanded form. I don't think any of us would want to sit here and write 10 groups of x plus 50. Do x plus 50 plus x plus 50 plus x plus 50 and do that 10 times, much less a really big number. So we've got to come up with a more efficient way to simplify this expression without having to write out all of the groups, okay? So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that right now. Okay, so a more efficient shortcut for the distributive property is we're going to come back up to our example of 2 times x plus 4. And we're going to consider another way to do it instead of writing out 2 groups of x plus 4. In order to do that, just like we set up here, to multiply this sum or difference, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply each number within the parentheses by the number on the outside. So what I'm doing is I'm going to distribute that 2, okay? Just like the word distributive property, I'm going to distribute the 2. So I'm going to circle my 2 because that's what I'm distributing, and I'm going to draw an arrow. And I'm distributing it to everything inside the parentheses, okay? So that means I'm going to do 2 times x, so positive 2 times x is 2x. And then if I do positive 2 times positive 4, and since that right there is plus 4, I'm treating that like it's positive 4. Okay, so 2 times positive 4 is positive 8. So to write that, I'm going to do 2 plus 8. Now you see, that's exactly what we got up here. We just didn't have to write out all of the expanded form. Okay, we used a more efficient way of the distributive property. We distributed everything on the outside of the parentheses by everything on the inside, okay? So I'm going to come in here and do an example with you. I want you to come down and I want you to consider this first example here. Example A. Okay, we have 3 times x minus 6. Okay, now we said that means 3 groups of x minus 6, but instead of writing it all the way out, I'm going to use the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute that 3. So I'm going to circle the 3 because that's what I'm wanting to multiply by. I'll always draw my arrows because that helps me remember that I've got to distribute to everything inside. Okay, so we're going to say 3 times x, and 3 times x is 3x. But this time when you see when we're multiplying 3, we're multiplying it right now, that's a minus 6. So we're actually multiplying, we're going to treat that minus 6 like a negative 6. So 3 times negative 6, so have no fear, integer man is here. So if we multiply positive 3 times negative 6, I get negative 18. So how can I show negative 18 in this expression? I can simply write minus 18. Okay? So my simplified form of 3 times x minus 6 is 3x minus 18. All right? And we're going to come back to those next few examples when you come to my station. But right now I want us to kind of skip down to a little bit more complicated ones. I want you to consider this one at the bottom. Okay? Now this one's a little different because our coefficient, and that's what we call the number out front, is that coefficient. That coefficient is different because this time it's negative. So we have negative 2 times x plus 4. And that's definitely why we want to use distributive property again, is because we can't have negative 2 groups. So we can use our distributive property to help us multiply this. Okay? So first up, I'm going to circle that number that I'm distributing. And this time, I'm distributing not just 2, but negative 2. You got to circle the sign in front. Okay? And I'm distributing it to everything inside. So now I'm going to use, again, have no fear, integer man is here. So negative 2 times positive x is negative 2x. Okay, now we're going to multiply negative 2, and when we're multiplying it by that second term, look in front of the 4. Do you see that that's a plus 4? So we're going to treat that plus 4 like a positive 4. So negative 2 times positive 4, we'll do a negative 2 times positive 4. Use my integer man, negative times positive is a negative. So negative 8, and how I can easily write negative 8 is just simply write minus 8. Okay? So the simplified form of that is negative 2x minus 8. Okay? I'm going to do one more example with you, and then we'll finish up together when you come to my station. I want you to look at the very next example, which is negative 3 times x minus 6. Okay? I'm going to distribute the negative 3, circle the sign in front. So I want you to help me with this one. Negative 3 times positive x, what do you get there? Negative 3x. Okay? And when I distribute the negative 3 to that second term, what do you notice that the 6 is? It's a minus 6. So I'm going to treat that 6 like it's a negative 6. Okay? So a negative 3 times a negative 6, and negative times a negative is a positive. So since it's positive, I'm going to put plus, and then 3 times 6 is 18. So negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. I represent that by writing plus 18. Okay? So just to recap, guys, distributive property is exactly what it sounds like. You're distributing the number on the outside of the parentheses. You're multiplying that number by everything on the inside. Okay? And you want to pay special attention to those signs and use integer man to help you since we're multiplying positive and negative numbers. Okay? And so we are going to do some more practice problems together. If you would like, you can look at a few more, but you don't have to because we're going to do some more together when you come to my station. Okay? So try your best. Make me proud, and I can't wait to hear any questions that you have when you come to my station. Be prepared to tell me one thing you've learned and one question you still have, okay? So good luck, guys. Peace out, rainbow trout and speckled trout. Love you, mean it.